I'm Akiko Fujita on the ground here in Las Vegas at CES 2024, where EVs continue to be the focus. Vietnam's startup here, VinFast, unveiling this new VF3 here on the floor, and today we are joined by Madam Thuy, the chairwoman of the board for VinFast. Great to talk to you today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Let's first start with company news that came out this week. A bit of a shakeup at the top yet again. You've got the chairman of Vin Group, your parent company, now stepping in as CEO. You are now chairwoman of the board. What does this shakeup mean for VinFast strategy in the US?
I wouldn't call it a shakeup. I would call it a reinforcement. VinFast got to a certain level, the different kinds of leadership. I need to focus more on the fundraising, the external relation part of the of VinFast, and our chairman, like serial entrepreneur, have been building multiple multi-billion dollars companies, going to take on the daily operations and leading the organization according to the strategic plans that we already have. So it's a strengthening at the top of the company, may I say.
You made a big splash with your public listing last year, but let's talk about the EV environment right now in the US. It comes at a time where we've started to see sales slow. Drivers are increasingly hesitant about the infrastructure, the range, and the cost. When you think about where things are in this market, what's a realistic expectation the company has in the US for 2024?
I think the EV adoption rate has decreased, but the adoption is still there. I mean, obviously it cannot continue going at a very high level, but you continue seeing the increase in EV adoptions. But now, like after you scratch the surface and like already met the need of the people that have multiple cars and just can buy another car for good reason, now you really have to sell to the mass market, right? Then you just have to make sure that the vehicles are affordable and can also meet the daily needs of the consumer. So that's when we come into, I mean, from very beginning, we say that our mission is to make EVs accessible to everyone. You see all the models that we have around here, and in our lineup of vehicles, anything from like the affordable EVs under $20,000 to a very luxurious VF9 that can fit the whole family. So we want to have a little bit for everybody. So we feel like when customer becoming more choosy and make the decision of buying an EV, having all vehicles in all different segments will help the customers to choose the vehicles.
The VF3 that was unveiled here, that is going to be on the lower end of your car range.
Right.
Roughly what, $20,000 or so?
Less than $20,000. Yeah.
Is that where you're looking to compete in the U.S. market instead of the 40,000, roughly 50,000 that you have on the current market? Is this where you see the real opportunity?
It's an interesting twist. I mean, we started out because all the market research say that the U.S. Consumer like really big cars, so that's how we started with like VF8 and VF9 in the U.S., right? Especially the VF9, and the book building, the orders from the customer also show significant number of VF9. So in September, when I came here to meet with the group of dealers, when we decided to switch to dealership model, met with different group of dealers in the US, and I brought this car with me, the VF3, that was very well received in Vietnam at that time as a test. And then we show the whole lineup. We show the VF3 together, VF6, VF7, VF8, VF9, right? All of them. And then I asked the dealers, like, do you like this car? Do you think you can sell this car? And hand on heart, everybody is like, definitely it's going to be the biggest volume for us. So everybody, like all the dealers that we met with, like the VF3, and so we went back and we decided to just develop the VF3 for US market as well. So
when's the launch date?
Next year, early next year.
Early next year.
Right.
You have set a pretty ambitious target here, 750,000 annually, globally by 2026 in terms of total deliveries. How much of the infrastructure have you built out to be able to meet that kind of target?
So the factory in Vietnam we have a capacity of up to 300,000 vehicles a year. The one that we're building in North Carolina can go up to 150,000 vehicles per year. We are building 2 factories we already announced in India and Indonesia. So each of them would be anywhere between, the smallest one would be 50,000 to 200,000. So roughly that can, add up to the capacity for the next 5 years.
And what's the mix when you think about that target of 750,000? Is it half VF3s? Is it VF8s? How do you look at that mix right now in the lineup that you have?
I think different markets are different. Like for example, in Vietnam, we're big on like VF3, VF5, VF E34. So like the smaller, more affordable vehicles. In the markets like US markets, and we haven't tested this. We're still thinking, but our plan gear more toward like the bigger cars in the US. So different markets are different. Indonesia is also different. India is a little bit different. So we have to change our strategy a little bit for each of the markets. And
finally, I'm looking straight across here. You've got the pickup,
you love
the
it?
Concept car.
Did you see it? Did you see
I
it this
have
morning?
looked inside. What's interesting to me is in the US market, it feels like this is such a crowded space. Now, you talked about how the strategy has kind of shifted in the US from sort of the bigger cars that you thought would sell better to this being a potential draw. Where does the pickup fit in the lineup in the future?
So pickup market is always hot in the US, so this is the concept car that we introduced here, and we would like to get the feedback from the customers, the market, and we will make a decision as to how to change it, when to have the vehicle. Right now we're thinking like 2026, but just there would be a lot more feedback, to be taken before we.
Okay, and finally, if I can bring it back to 2024 and where VinFast is right now. You said you are seeing the US as a growing market. We are seeing slower EV adoption, even if the adoption is there. What's the target right now in terms of deliveries you're hoping for here?
I think next week we're going to announce the deliveries for 2023 and the earnings for 2023, as well as the expectation for the future.
Are we talking thousands, tens of thousands? What are you looking at?
Oh, for this
deliveries,
year?
Yeah, for 2024.
Probably tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
But still early, right? This still beginning for us in the US market.
Great. Madam Thuy, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Akiko.
Big thank you to our very own Akiko Fujita for that interview with Madam Thuy, VinFast Board of Directors Chairwoman.